The banyan tree swayed gently as sunlight filtered through its broad leaves, casting soft shadows on the gathered disciples below. The Buddha sat cross-legged, his presence calm and unwavering, radiating an aura of wisdom and compassion that captivated his audience. Ananda knelt close to him, his brow furrowed with a weight he struggled to put into words for guidance. "Master," Ananda began, hesitating as he sought the courage to share his thoughts, "I am troubled by my own weakness." The Buddha looked at him without judgment, his gaze steady and serene, inviting Ananda to unburden his heart completely. "I find myself constantly seeking approval from others, shaping my actions to fulfill their expectations," Ananda confessed, his voice trembling. "Each smile they grant me brings comfort, yet their disapproval feels like a storm that shakes me to the core." The Buddha paused, his fingers delicately tracing the edge of his bowl, allowing Ananda's words to settle in the air. Buddha gazed at the empty pot. "This pot is empty now, yet it retains its purpose. Bring me the water pot," the Buddha instructed, pointing to the vessel that rested near the roots of the banyan tree. Ananda rose and fetched the pot, placing it carefully before the Buddha, who observed it with thoughtful interest. The Buddha lifted the pot with measured grace, its contents swirling softly, and began to pour water onto the thirsty soil. "Ananda," the Buddha continued, his gaze unwavering, "watch the soil as it absorbs the water from this pot." "What do you observe?" "The soil accepts the water as its nourishment," Ananda replied, his voice steadied by the Buddha's serene demeanor and clarity. "Your heart is like this pot. It holds, it empties, yet its purpose endures. We must realize that the approval we seek from others is like this pot. It offers temporary fulfillment, but never lasting peace. The soil, like your heart, must find its nourishment within, untethered by the fleeting judgments of others," the Buddha explained. Buddha rose and faced his disciples, the lotus framing his silhouette. "The path lies in understanding," he said, his voice as steady as the earth beneath their feet. The Buddha placed the empty pot beside him, folding his hands gently, his voice steady and filled with unshakable conviction. "To free yourself, Ananda, you must learn to embrace your truth and cherish the flame within that guides your path." He filled the pot and returned. Buddha asked, "Does the pot now feel heavier in your hands than it did before it was filled?" "Yes, Blessed One. It feels heavier. The water transforms it, but the pot remains unchanged in its purpose," he answered. Buddha smiled softly. The Buddha turned his attention to the group, extending his teachings beyond Ananda to all who sought freedom from people-pleasing. "Reflect upon your intentions, for they are the foundation of your peace and the source of strength within your journey. When you act with integrity, your truth will shine brighter than the approval or criticism of others," the Buddha affirmed calmly. The disciples began whispering softly among themselves, sharing their reflections, inspired by the clarity of the Buddha's words and example. Did the pot resist losing its water? Does it lament the absence of what once filled its emptiness? He asked. The merchant shook his head, understanding the metaphor. "No, Master, the pot simply exists. It neither clings nor grieves." Another day, another lesson unfolded as the Buddha walked along the banks of the Ganges River, his robes flowing gently. His disciples followed in silence, observing the tranquility of their master, who seemed in harmony with the flowing waters. A wealthy merchant, Sumitra, approached the Buddha with folded hands, his expression a blend of respect and evident unease. "Master," Sumitra began, bowing low, "I seek your wisdom, for my heart is heavy with confusion and burdens of judgment." The Buddha paused, turned towards Sumitra, and gestured for him to walk alongside, inviting him into a quiet conversation. "My wealth has brought both admiration and envy," Sumitra explained, his voice heavy, "and I feel trapped by others' conflicting judgments. I am called generous by some, yet selfish by others. And these words weigh upon my spirit constantly, he continued. The Buddha gazed at the flowing river, its surface sparkling under the sunlight, and spoke, "Do you see this river, Sumitra?" "Yes, Master," Sumitra replied, following the Buddha's gaze to the rippling waters that stretched endlessly before them. "This river flows freely, its waters unceasing, regardless of the winds that attempt to sway it," the Buddha observed calmly. Sumitra listened intently, his heart eager to grasp the significance of the Buddha's words and the lesson they contained. "Does the river pause to argue with the winds about the direction it should flow, Sumitra?" the Buddha inquired. "No, Master," Sumitra answered, shaking his head. "The river continues its course, undisturbed by the whims of the winds. Emptiness is not the absence of meaning. It is the seed of transformation," Buddha said. Buddha turned to his disciples. "All who cling suffer. All who accept find liberation. When your actions arise from integrity and compassion, their judgments lose power, for they cannot alter your inner peace," he added. The disciples, walking nearby, overheard the exchange and began reflecting silently on how the lesson applied to their own lives. Do the clouds grieve when the wind carries them away? Do they mourn their transient forms? Number. Blessed One, the disciples responded. The clouds simply flow as the wind directs, merging into the vastness of the sky. So it is with human attachments, Buddha said. Release and merge with life's flow, and suffering will dissolve into peace. The merchant lowered his head, silently reflecting on Buddha's words. He felt the weight of his anguish start to recede. Buddha offered his final thought. The heart must hold and release, like the pot with water. This is the dance of existence. Villagers, farmers, and disciples alike sat attentively, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of lamps scattered around them. A young woman named Nandini approached hesitantly, her hands clasped tightly, as if shielding an invisible flame within her grasp. The merchant stood, holding the empty pot, bowing deeply once more. His gratitude illuminated his face as he turned to leave. I often feel my light dimmed by the harsh words and criticisms of others, Nandini continued, her eyes glistening softly. How can I protect my inner flame when the winds of judgment blow so fiercely against my fragile spirit? She asked. The Buddha extended his hand upward, pointing toward the endless night sky scattered with glimmering stars. A serene infinite expanse. Nandini, do you see how the stars shine brightly, undisturbed by the storms that pass through the heavens? He asked. Yes, Master, Nandini replied, her gaze following his pointing finger, marveling at the constancy of the stars above them. Even the stars face the winds and storms of existence, yet their light remains unyielding, the Buddha explained with calm clarity. Silence held us, yet our questions boiled within. I dared to speak, my heart heavy with the burden of lingering anger and unanswered betrayal from a close friend. Master, what if their words hurt deeply, piercing the heart like arrows? How do I remain unshaken in such times? The Buddha gestured toward a lamp resting on the ground, its light steady despite the faint breeze that touched the flame. Watch this lamp, Nandini, the Buddha said. Its flame dances, but it does not extinguish, for it is well sheltered. The shelter it receives is mindfulness, a steadfast guard that protects your light from the influence of external winds, he added. The disciples leaned closer, their attention fully immersed in the profound teachings unfolding before them like petals of wisdom. When words wound you, pause and remember, they are but the winds. They do not define the strength of your flame, he explained. Nandini's shoulders softened as the Buddha's words ignited a spark of clarity within her. Like the first light of dawn. Master, how do I practice mindfulness to strengthen my flame and remain true to myself amidst the chaos? she asked. The Buddha folded his hands in his lap and said, "Begin by observing your breath, the anchor of your present awareness. Inhale deeply and exhale gently, focusing on the rhythm, allowing it to ground you amidst the turmoil," the Buddha instructed. Through this practice, you create space within, a sanctuary for your flame to thrive and illuminate your path, he continued. What does this teach, Master? I asked, puzzled by the simple yet profound act. His wisdom seemed hidden yet enticing. The river shows us that grasping is futile, for life moves regardless of our resistance. Release leads to peace, he replied. Each of you carries a unique flame, capable of illuminating not only your path but also the world around you, he declared. But first, you must tend to it with care, protecting it from the fleeting winds of doubt and fear, he continued. The canopy of stars seemed to echo his words, their light unwavering as the night deepened and the teachings permeated the air. Nandini bowed deeply, her heart ablaze with newfound strength, and vowed silently to shield her flame with mindfulness and truth. How shall I begin? I asked, desperate for the first step toward unburdening my heart. My voice trembled under the weight. The Buddha reached for a pebble beside him and placed it in my hand. Its smooth surface cold against my skin. This pebble represents your resentment, he explained. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.